The massive alien ships darkened the skies above every major city on Earth. It had been 3 months since the Galactic Council discovered humanity, and their verdict was swift and harsh: humans were too volatile, too unpredictable to join galactic society. Tom Miller watched from the observation deck of Transport Ship 247 as the blue marble of Earth disappeared behind him. Like millions of other humans, he was being forcefully relocated to what the aliens called Planet LD-2847, a world they considered suitable for containing such a dangerous species. "This is for the greater good of galactic peace," the tall, silvery alien had told them during the announcement. The Council believed humans were too aggressive, too adaptable, and too quick to advance technologically. Rather than risk humanity becoming a threat, they chose to relocate the entire species to a world they believed would keep them occupied with mere survival. The transport ship shuddered as it entered hyperspace. Tom looked around at his fellow humans, engineers, doctors, farmers, and people from all walks of life. Their faces showed a mixture of fear and determination. The aliens had allowed them to bring basic tools and knowledge databases, but nothing they considered dangerous technology. After what felt like days, the ship's view screen activated, showing their destination. The aliens called it a Deathworld, a planet with higher gravity, extreme weather patterns, and aggressive wildlife. The atmosphere was thicker than Earth's, the temperatures more extreme, and the local fauna was described as exceptionally hostile. "Welcome to your new home," announced the automated system as the ship began its descent. "This planet has been deemed suitable for your containment. The gravity is 1.3 times that of your native world. The atmosphere is within your breathable parameters, though denser. You will find the provided basic shelters in the designated landing zones." As they descended through the thick, stormy atmosphere, Tom could see the surface through breaks in the clouds. Vast forests of alien vegetation stretched to the horizon, interrupted by mountains that dwarfed anything on Earth. In the distance, massive creatures moved through the canopy, their shapes both familiar and alien. The ship landed in a cleared area where basic prefabricated structures had been set up. As the doors opened, the first thing Tom noticed was the weight. Everything felt heavier. The air was thick and humid, making it slightly harder to breathe. In the distance, something roared. "Remember," the ship's AI announced as they disembarked, "the Galactic Council has declared this region of space restricted. No ships will be permitted to approach this solar system. You are now outside of galactic civilization and must remain so." As the last humans left the ship, Tom watched it take off, disappearing into the strange purplish-gray sky. Around him, people were already organizing themselves, forming groups, discussing plans. An old military veteran was talking about setting up defensive positions. A botanist was examining the local plants with fascination. A group of engineers was studying the prefab shelters, discussing how to improve them. That's when Tom realized something the Galactic Council had missed. They thought they were containing humanity on a harsh world that would keep them struggling to survive. What they didn't understand was that humans had always thrived on overcoming challenges. This wasn't a prison, it was an opportunity. "They think this place will break us," Tom said to no one in particular, watching as more people joined the growing groups of planners and organizers. "But they don't understand what humans are capable of." In the following days, the pattern repeated across thousands of landing sites on the planet. Humans did what they had always done throughout their history: they adapted. They organized. They started building. The higher gravity meant they would grow stronger. The hostile wildlife meant they would become smarter and more resourceful. The extreme weather meant they would develop better technology. The aliens had made a crucial mistake. They had given humanity exactly what it needed to become even more formidable: a challenge. As Tom helped set up the first permanent structures, he smiled, knowing that this wasn't the end of humanity's story, it was just the beginning. In the dense forest beyond the landing zone, another creature roared. This time, instead of fear, Tom felt determination. Humanity hadn't been banished to a death world. They had been given a world to conquer, and that's exactly what they would do. 6 months had passed since the banishment, and humanity was doing more than just surviving, they were adapting. The settlement where Tom lived, now called Haven Prime, had grown from basic shelters into a fortified community of over 10,000 people. Tom wiped sweat from his forehead as he finished his morning exercises. The higher gravity had forced everyone to become stronger, and what once felt crushing now felt almost normal. His muscles had developed to handle the increased weight, and he could now run for several miles without getting winded in the thick atmosphere. "Tom! We need you at the fence," called Ray, one of the settlement's security officers. "The Prowlers are back." Prowlers, that's what they'd named the wolf-like creatures that stood as tall as horses and hunted in packs. In the early days, these beasts had been terrifying. Now, they were just another challenge to overcome. Tom grabbed his spear, a weapon they developed specifically for this world. The shaft was made from a local metal-rich wood that was nearly as strong as steel, and the tip was fashioned from the crystalline teeth of fallen prowlers. They'd learned that the creature's own weapons worked best against them. At the fence, a pack of prowlers was testing the defenses. The electric barrier, powered by geothermal energy they'd tapped into, usually kept them at bay. But during the planet's frequent electromagnetic storms, the power would fluctuate, and the predators had learned to watch for these moments. "They're getting smarter," said Lisa, the head of wildlife studies. She had been documenting the creature's behavior since day one. "But so are we." Lisa had discovered that the prowlers communicated using subsonic frequencies, and they'd used this knowledge to develop sonic deterrence. As if on cue, the settlement's warning system activated, emitting a low frequency that made the prowlers retreat into the dense forest. But the prowlers weren't the only challenge. The planet's storms could tear through buildings, its plants could be deadly poisonous or surprisingly nutritious, and the insects could eat through metal. Each problem had forced humanity to innovate. The agricultural dome was proof of their progress. Inside, Earth crops were being gradually adapted to the new world's conditions. The scientists had found ways to strengthen the plants using genetic material from local species, creating hybrids that could thrive in the harsh environment. "Look at this," Lisa said, leading Tom to her research station. On her screen was a cellular analysis of human blood samples. "Our bodies are changing. The higher oxygen content in the air, combined with the gravity, isn't just making us stronger, it's changing our physiology. We're evolving." The changes were subtle but significant. Enhanced muscle density, more efficient oxygen processing, stronger bones. Children born on this world would be even better adapted. What the Galactic Council had intended as a prison was becoming a forge, reshaping humanity into something new. In the community center, Tom attended the daily meeting where representatives from different sectors shared their progress. The engineers had developed stronger building materials using local resources. The medical team had found ways to synthesize medicines from native plants. The hunters had mapped the territories of different predator species and established safer routes between settlements. "We've made contact with Settlement Zone 43, announced Mark, the communications chief. They had developed a network of relay stations using modified prefab materials, allowing settlements to share knowledge and resources. They've discovered a new way to process the crystal wood for tools. They're sending us the details." This was humanity's true strength, not just the ability to adapt, but to share and improve upon each discovery. Every settlement was solving problems in unique ways, and through cooperation, they all grew stronger. As the meeting ended, Tom stepped outside to watch the dual moons rise. The larger one cast a purple glow across the landscape, while its smaller companion shone with a bright blue light. The sight still filled him with awe, but no longer with the fear it had originally inspired. "They thought this world would break us," Tom said to Lisa, who had joined him outside. Instead, it's making us stronger than we ever were on Earth. In the distance, a prowler's call echoed through the valley, but nobody flinched. This world was harsh, but humanity was harsher. They weren't just visitors anymore, they were becoming part of this world's ecosystem, and the ecosystem was becoming part of them. As the purple moonlight illuminated the settlement, Tom could see the next generation of buildings under construction, each one better than the last. They weren't just surviving anymore, they were laying the groundwork for a civilization that would thrive in conditions that the Galactic Council had considered impossible to inhabit. 5 years after the banishment, Haven Prime had transformed from a survival camp into a thriving city. The once basic shelters had evolved into towering structures built from locally sourced materials that could withstand the planet's fierce storms. But the real revolution wasn't in what they'd built, it was in how they'd built it. Tom stood in the city's new research center, watching a demonstration of their latest breakthrough. A massive prowler tooth, nearly as long as his arm, was being dissolved in a vat of specialized bacteria. The resulting solution would be processed into an ultra-strong building material stronger than any steel they'd had on Earth. The aliens thought they were limiting us by restricting our technology, said Dr. James, the head researcher. But they forced us to look at problems differently. We're not just recreating Earth tech, we're discovering entirely new approaches. The evidence was everywhere. The city's power grid ran on a combination of geothermal energy and biological batteries developed from studying the local lightning-eating fungi. Transportation between settlements now used magnetic levitation tracks, taking advantage of the planet's strong magnetic field. Even their food production had evolved beyond traditional agriculture. "Check this out," called Anna, a former software engineer who now worked in the biology department. She pointed to a holographic display powered by crystalline computing, another innovation born from necessity. The display showed a map of human settlements across the planet, now numbering in the thousands. We're not just surviving here anymore. We're spreading, connecting, growing. The network of settlements had developed into a complex civilization. Each region specialized in different areas of research and production, sharing their discoveries through the global communication network they'd established. The harsh environment that was meant to contain them had instead forced them to cooperate on an unprecedented scale. In the medical center, Tom saw more evidence of their progress. The doctors had learned to use the planet's native organisms to fight diseases and heal injuries. Patients recovered faster in the higher gravity, and the enriched atmosphere had led to increased human endurance and strength. The next generation, born on this world, was already showing signs of natural adaptation to the environment. "The Council thought this world would hold us back," said Dr. James, leading Tom through the research facility's lower levels. "But look at what we've achieved. Our technology isn't just different, it's better. We're not burning fossil fuels or creating electronic waste. Everything we build works in harmony with this world because it has to." The facility's lower chamber housed their most ambitious project yet. A massive machine hummed quietly, its core filled with the same crystalline material they'd learned to harvest from the planet's depths. This was their future, a new kind of computer that processed information in ways their old silicon-based systems never could. "We're calling it the Nexus," explained Anna, her fingers dancing across the crystal interface. "It's not just faster than our old computers, it thinks differently. The crystals naturally form quantum connections. We're just learning how to use them." Outside, the city sprawled across the valley, its buildings a blend of human design and alien world practicality. The streets were filled with people going about their daily lives, children playing in gravity that would have crushed their grandparents, breathing air that would have suffocated them 5 years ago. In the distance, a transport vessel lifted off from the spaceport, another achievement the Council hadn't anticipated. They'd learned to fabricate spacecraft using local materials, designed specifically for the planet's high gravity. These ships couldn't yet reach other stars, but they could transport people and goods between settlements across their new world. "The Council made one fundamental mistake," Tom said, watching the ship disappear into the purple-tinged clouds. They assumed isolation would weaken us. Instead, it forced us to become something new. The evening alarm sounded, warning of an approaching electromagnetic storm. But unlike the early days, there was no panic. The city's shields, derived from studying how local life forms protected themselves from the planet's electrical discharges, automatically activated. The purple-blue barrier rippled overhead, ready to protect them from nature's fury. As Tom walked home through the shielded streets, he passed a school where children were learning about both Earth's history and their New World sciences. These children would grow up stronger, smarter, and better adapted than any human had ever been. They weren't just survivors anymore, they were the first generation of something entirely new. The aliens had meant to imprison humanity on a death world. Instead, they had given them the perfect environment to evolve into something far beyond what they had been. And somewhere out there, the Galactic Council had no idea what they had actually created. 10 years into humanity's exile, Haven Prime had become the center of a scientific revolution that would have been impossible on Earth. The research center where Tom now worked full-time had expanded into a sprawling complex of laboratories and testing facilities, each dedicated to unlocking the secrets of their new world. "You need to see this," Anna called from her station at the Nexus facility. The crystal computer had evolved far beyond its original design, growing more complex as they learned to shape and program the living crystals. "We've made a breakthrough in understanding the planet's magnetic field." Tom hurried over to her station, his movements easy and fluid despite the crushing gravity that would have immobilized their old Earth bodies. The holographic display showed a complex web of magnetic field lines spanning the planet, but there was something different about the pattern. "Look here," Anna pointed to a strange fluctuation in the field. "These aren't natural formations. The planet's magnetic field is artificial, or at least, it was artificially modified a long time ago." The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Their prison planet wasn't just a random world, it had been engineered. The implications were staggering. Someone, long before the current Galactic Council, had transformed this planet into what it was now. In the biology labs, Dr. James made another breakthrough. "The enhanced physiology we've developed isn't just adaptation," he explained, showing Tom the latest genetic scans. "The planet's environment is triggering dormant genes in our DNA. Genes that look like they were engineered into our species millions of years ago." The pieces were starting to fit together. The harsh gravity, the dense atmosphere, the aggressive wildlife, it wasn't natural selection at work. This world had been designed as a forge for species development, and humanity had unwittingly been returned to the planet of their ancient engineering. "The Council didn't banish us to a random death world," Tom realized. "They sent us home." The Nexus computers worked overtime, processing this new information. The crystalline matrices hummed with activity as they analyzed patterns in human DNA, comparing them to fragments of genetic material found in the planet's oldest rock layers. The results were undeniable: humanity's ancestors had been engineered on this very world, then transported to Earth millions of years ago. But the biggest breakthrough came from an unexpected source. While studying how local predators tracked their prey through the planet's electromagnetic storms, a team of physicists discovered something remarkable about the crystalline formations that seemed to grow everywhere. "They're not just conductors," explained Dr. Williams, the lead physicist. "They're natural quantum entanglement devices. The entire planet is connected through a network of quantum-entangled crystals. That's how the wildlife adapts so quickly, they're sharing information through quantum networks." The implications were revolutionary. If they could harness this natural quantum network, they could achieve faster-than-light communication. The very crystals that powered their computers could be the key to reaching beyond their solar system. In the manufacturing district, engineers were already putting these discoveries to use. New ships were being constructed, their hulls grown rather than built, incorporating the living crystals into their structure. These vessels would be capable of not just interplanetary flight, but potentially interstellar travel. The Council thought they were containing us, Tom said during a research briefing. But they didn't realize they were giving us access to technology far beyond anything they possess. This planet isn't just our prison, it's our launching pad. The changes weren't limited to technology. The new generation of humans born on this world showed remarkable abilities. They could sense electromagnetic fields naturally, communicate through subtle bioelectric signals, and their bodies could process energy more efficiently than any human in history. In the Nexus core, Anna made one final discovery that changed everything. The quantum network extends beyond our solar system, she announced. We've detected signals, old ones, encoded in the crystal matrices. Their instructions, star maps, technological blueprints, waiting for whoever was ready to find them. As Tom stood in the observation dome that evening, watching the dual moons rise, he understood the full scope of what they'd discovered. The Galactic Council, in their attempt to contain humanity, had given them exactly what they needed, access to their true heritage and the tools to reclaim it. 10 years ago, they thought they were banishing us to die, Tom said to Anna as they reviewed the latest data. Instead, they helped us discover who we really are. And soon, they're going to learn exactly what that means. 15 years after the banishment, the alarm that rang through Haven Prime wasn't one of warning, it was one of anticipation. The long-range sensors, built using the quantum crystal technology, had detected an approaching ship. The Galactic Council's quarantine of their solar system was about to be broken. Smugglers, Tom said, watching the tactical display in Haven Prime's command center. They probably think they found an uninhabited Deathworld they can use as a hidden base. The alien ship was small, likely a scout vessel. It moved cautiously through the system, its outdated stealth systems no match for humanity's crystal-based sensors. The crew clearly expected to find a harsh, primitive world. Instead, they were about to discover something very different. "Should we power up the defense grid?" asked Ray, now the head of planetary security. The network of quantum-linked satellites could easily disable or destroy the intruding vessel, but that wasn't the plan. "No," Tom replied, a slight smile on his face. "Let's welcome them properly. Contact all major settlements. It's time for Operation First Light." Across the planet, massive shield generators powered down, revealing the true extent of human civilization. Gleaming cities emerged from their protective barriers, their crystal spires reaching into the purple-tinged sky. Spaceports became visible, along with the sleek ships that humanity had developed for their eventual return to the stars. The alien vessel's sensors must have been overwhelmed by the sudden appearance of so much technology. It froze in orbit, probably trying to make sense of what it was seeing. Then, using their quantum communication array, Haven Prime sent their message, in perfect galactic standard. "Welcome to New Earth. We've been expecting visitors." The response was immediate and panicked. The alien ship tried to turn around, but before it could flee, it was surrounded by 3 human vessels that seemed to materialize from nowhere, the quantum crystal technology allowing them to bypass traditional space travel limitations. "Please remain calm," the message continued. "We mean you no harm. We invite your crew to visit our world and see what humanity has become." The alien ship had no choice but to accept. Their engines were no match for the gravity manipulation technology the human ships possessed. They were escorted to Haven Prime's main spaceport, where a delegation waited to greet them. Tom stood among the welcoming committee, watching as the alien ship landed. The vessel's design was familiar, similar to the ships that had banished humanity 15 years ago, but now looking primitive in comparison to human technology. The ship's ramp lowered, and out stepped 3 beings that looked exactly like the species that had once judged humanity unworthy of galactic society. "Impossible," the alien captain said in galactic standard, staring at the thriving city around them. "This world was meant to be uninhabitable. You were meant to To die? Tom finished for him. Or merely to be contained? Your council made a significant miscalculation. This world didn't break us, it revealed us. The aliens were given a tour of Haven Prime, their expressions moving from shock to awe to fear as they witnessed what humanity had achieved. The quantum crystal computers, the gravity manipulation technology, the evolved humans who could survive conditions that would kill most species in the galaxy, it was all beyond anything their civilization possessed. Your council thought they were sentencing us to exile, Anna explained to their visitors as she demonstrated the Nexus system. Instead, they reunited us with our true heritage. This world wasn't our prison, it was where humanity was born, where we were first engineered to become what we are now. The alien captain, now understanding the magnitude of their discovery, asked the question they'd been dreading, "What do you want?" Tom's answer was simple, a conversation with the Galactic Council. It's time they learned that their efforts to contain humanity had exactly the opposite effect. We're not the same species they banished 15 years ago. We're something far more interesting. As the aliens prepared to leave, carrying news that would shake the galaxy's power structure, Tom watched from the observation deck. The human ships escorted the alien vessel to the edge of the solar system, making sure they understood that humanity was no longer trapped or contained. Send a message to all settlements, Tom instructed the communications center. Tell them to begin Phase 2. The galaxy's about to remember why their ancestors engineered us in the first place. The game was about to change, and humanity was holding all the cards. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council erupted into chaos as the smuggler captain's report was presented. The massive holographic display showed images of human achievements that should have been impossible. Cities that defied the crushing gravity, ships that manipulated space itself, and humans who had evolved beyond their original capabilities. This cannot be allowed to continue, thundered the High Counselor, his silver skin rippling with stress patterns. We contained them for the safety of the galaxy. Their advancement must be stopped. But the Council's military advisor, watching the recordings of human ships appearing and disappearing using quantum crystal technology, shook his head. Honored Council, I fear that option no longer exists. Their technological evolution has surpassed our own. A military solution would be inadvisable. As if to emphasize this point, a new signal cut through all the Council's communication channels. The quantum-based transmission bypassed every security measure as if they didn't exist. Above the Council chamber, a hologram materialized, Tom, speaking on behalf of humanity. Honorable members of the Galactic Council, he began, his image clear and strong, 15 years ago, you made a decision based on fear. Today, we're here to help you understand why that fear was misplaced. The Council chamber fell silent. Some members reached for emergency controls, but their systems didn't respond. Humanity's control over their communication network was complete. We're not transmitting this message to threaten you, Tom continued. We're transmitting to thank you. Your decision to send us to what you called a Deathworld actually gave us exactly what we needed, a return to our origins. The High Counselor tried to interrupt, but Tom's transmission continued smoothly. We've discovered the truth about our world, about humanity's creation. We know why the Ancient Ones engineered us, why they seated us on Earth, and why they left the quantum crystal network for us to find when we were ready. Images began appearing in the Council chamber, human ships effortlessly navigating gravitational fields that would tear normal vessels apart, cities protected by energy fields that defied known physics, and humans working alongside the very predators that were supposed to have destroyed them. Your predecessors faced a threat that nearly destroyed galactic civilization, Tom explained. The Ancient Ones created humanity as an answer to that threat. We were designed to adapt, to overcome, to grow stronger in the face of adversity. Earth was our cradle, but that death world you banished us to? That was our forge. The Council members watched in stunned silence as more data streamed in. Their own scientists confirmed what they were seeing, human technology had advanced beyond their understanding. The quantum crystal network humanity had discovered was part of an ancient system spanning the galaxy, one that their civilization had never even detected. The threat your ancestors faced is returning, Tom continued. The Ancient Ones left us warnings in the quantum network. That's why they made us as we are, adaptable, resourceful, able to survive and thrive in conditions that would break other species. We're not your enemy. We're your last line of defense. The military advisor stepped forward, their tactical displays showing something alarming: massive disturbances at the edge of known space, exactly where the humans' quantum network had predicted the threat would emerge. You have a choice, Tom said. Continue to fear us, try to contain us, and face what's coming alone. Or accept our help, learn from our discoveries, and let us fulfill the purpose we were created for. We'll await your response. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in silence. The High Counselor looked around at the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds, seeing the same realization on all their faces. They had tried to contain humanity out of fear of what they might become, only to create exactly the power they had feared, but now that power might be their only hope for survival. The ancient records, one council member whispered. They spoke of guardians who would return when needed. We never understood what they meant. The High Counselor stood, his decision made. Send word to the human world. Tell them. He paused, the irony of the moment not lost on him. Tell them the Galactic Council requests their help in defending the galaxy. As the message was sent, the council members watched their long-range sensors. Something vast and dark was indeed moving at the edges of their space. The threat the Ancient Ones had prepared for was returning, and humanity, the species they had tried to exile and forget, was now their greatest hope for survival. The quantum crystal network lit up across the galaxy as the ancient threat emerged from deep space. The beings that the old records called the Devourers had returned, massive organic ships that consumed everything in their path, breaking down entire planets for resources. They were exactly what humanity had been engineered to fight. Tom stood on the bridge of the Guardian, humanity's flagship, watching as the combined fleet of human and council ships prepared for battle. The council vessels looked primitive compared to the sleek, crystal-enhanced ships that humanity had developed, but they had their part to play. All ships, report in, Tom commanded. The quantum communication system instantly connected him to every vessel in the fleet. The council races had quickly learned to use the simplified versions of human technology that they'd been given. It wasn't their fault they hadn't been engineered for this moment, but humanity had been. The first wave of Devourer ships emerged from hyperspace, their massive organic forms distorting the very fabric of space around them. They were bigger than anything the council races had ever encountered, but humanity had seen them before, in the genetic memories encoded in their DNA, memories that had been unlocked by their time on the Deathworld. Remember your training, Tom broadcast to the fleet. Everything we learned on our world prepared us for this. The higher gravity made us stronger. The harsh conditions made us adaptable. The predators taught us to fight. We were made for this moment. The battle began. The Devourers launched their first attack, expecting to easily consume the ships in their path as they had done countless times before. Instead, they met humanity's quantum shield technology, their energy weapons dispersed harmlessly through crystalline matrices. Now! Tom ordered. The human ships engaged their quantum drives, seeming to blink out of existence only to reappear inside the Devourer's formation. The council ships provided supporting fire, their conventional weapons enhanced by human crystal technology to penetrate the organic hulls of the enemy. The Devourers tried to adapt, as they always had before, but they found themselves facing an enemy that adapted faster. Every tactic they tried was met with a countermeasure. Every evolution they attempted was predicted and countered. The quantum network that spanned the galaxy wasn't just for communication, it was a battle network, designed to outthink and outmaneuver this very enemy. This is why we were made, Anna's voice came through the quantum link from Haven Prime, where she coordinated the network. Not just our bodies, but our minds. Our creativity. Our ability to take technology and push it beyond its limits. The Ancient Ones knew the Devourers would return, and they created us to be the perfect counter. The battle raged across multiple star systems, but the outcome was never in doubt. Humanity's ships, crewed by people who had grown strong in high gravity and learned to think in quantum terms, proved unstoppable. The Council ships, guided by human tactical advice and enhanced by human technology, held their own against enemies that would have once destroyed them without effort. One by one, the Devourer ships were disabled, their organic technology no match for weapons designed to exploit their every weakness. The Ancient Ones had encoded the knowledge of how to fight these beings into humanity's very cells, waiting for the day when it would be needed. As the last Devourer ship fell, a cheer went up across the quantum network. The Council ships celebrated alongside their human allies, all thoughts of past fears and prejudices forgotten in the triumph of survival. The Ancient Ones chose well, the High Counselor's message came through to the Guardian. We owe humanity more than just an apology, we owe you our future. Tom smiled as he looked out at the battlefield. Disabled Devourer ships floated in space, ready to be studied and understood so that humanity could be better prepared if they ever returned again. The Council ships formed up alongside their human allies, no longer afraid but proud to fly together. We were never meant to be contained, Tom broadcast to the fleet. We were meant to be guardians. Not because we're superior, but because we were made to adapt, to grow, to become whatever we needed to be. The Deathworld didn't break us, it reminded us of who we are. As the fleet began its victory return to Council space, Tom thought about how far humanity had come. From exile on a harsh world to saviors of the galaxy, all because the Council's attempt to contain them had instead set them free to become what they were always meant to be. Humanity had not just survived, they had fulfilled their destiny. And the galaxy would never be the same.